Okay, to start off, if you are under the age of consent, please ask your parents to watch this video first to make sure that it's okay with them for you to watch it. Um, Thank you. This video is about safe sex, what it is and what it isn't. First of all, any kind of sexual activity that is unprotected, whether it's vaginal sex or anal sex or oral sex or just masturbating onto somebody's face. And there are other types of sexual activity that I don't even want to talk about because they're really. Anytime you are putting your fluids onto somebody else's or other products of your body that come out of holes of your body that are not your sweat glands, you are putting them at risk. So it can be vomit, it can be poop, it can be pee, it can be blood, it can be ejaculation from a man, the lubricative liquids of a woman. So if you are engaging in any kind of sexual activity where you are exposing yourself to any kind of those liquids, you are exposing yourself to the possibility of disease. And some of those diseases don't ever go away. Some of those diseases can, over time, make you go crazy or even kill you or force you into a life of misery. A lot of people seem to not really understand, and I don't know why this is, but if you're engaging in any sexual activity and you don't know the person, especially, or you know this person is, say, for example, a nymphomaniac or other kind of sex addict, or they are a prostitute, or you know they have sex with other people, or you just don't know and haven't asked them to please go to the doctor and be checked for sexually transmitted diseases and infections, you are putting yourself at risk. And if you have something and you know it especially well, then that's criminal behavior. But you may not even be aware because sometimes there are no symptoms. Like, I'm fairly certain I carry human papillomavirus, but I have absolutely no symptoms of warts. Why do I think I have it? Well, it's what caused the cancer that killed my wife. Cervical cancer. So the chances are very high that I have it somewhere in my body, but I have no warts. Some people think that safe sex is just putting on a condom when you're having vaginal sex or maybe even anal sex, but that when you have oral sex, that's different. It's not. In fact, you don't even have to do something particularly risky, but if you have a wound and the other person has a virus, that viral, the part of their body or your body where the virus is comes into contact with the wound, the virus can gain access at that wound site. I learned this the hard way. And so, say you have a cold sore on your lip, and you decide that you want to have oral sex with somebody, or you're just sucking on their nipple or something else. The act of doing that, there's a lot of abrasion. Yes, there's lubrication from your mouth, but there's a lot of abrasion as well. And if you're nibbling or biting or anything like that or scratching, then you're opening the flesh, the skin, to the point that the virus from the cold sore, which is herpes simplex, can transfer, even if it's not the vagina, even if it's somewhere on your skin, somewhere like, say, your neck or your nipple or anywhere where there's going to be a wound and it comes into contact with an active herpes simplex site. And while there are over 150 kinds of human papillomavirus, or HPV, out of that, maybe 10, 15 can actually lead to cancer. It killed my wife. She went through chemo. She went through radiation therapy or radiotherapy. She still died. So, having oral sex without protection is very risky because you have mucous membranes of the mouth against the mucous membranes of, say, the vagina, or not mucous membranes, but the more fragile and vulnerable membranes of the vagina. And it can get a bit rough, if you're using your teeth or something like that, especially, which I hope you're not, but everybody has different preferences. Or you're giving somebody a blowjob. That action is, the teeth will accidentally scrape the skin, or some people, I guess, like it to scrape the skin, but the teeth can scrape the skin, cause damage, expose that damaged skin to whatever's in your mouth or the other person's mouth, if it's not you, and thus transfer the disease. So you can transfer HPV, HIV, HSV, CMV. You can transfer chlamydia, gonorrhea, syphilis, and other diseases and other infections. And you may or may not have any symptoms for a while. And especially in the case of women are less likely to have obvious symptoms than men. So you can give somebody a virus, and viruses are generally forever. Once you get them, they don't disappear if they're in your skin or whatever. But if you engage in anal sex, if you can't see the warts around somebody's anus or vagina or on their penis or whatever, that doesn't mean there aren't any inside where you can't see. And just because you don't see any lesions from HSV, herpes simplex, doesn't mean there aren't any inside. And the very action of sex opens wounds. It causes damage that makes it easier for these diseases, whether they're bacteria or they're fungus. Yes, fungus can be transferred too. Or they're viral, or there's something else like maybe parasites, like lice. They call them crabs when it comes to genitalia, having these little bugs on them. So if you're not protecting yourself in every sexual activity, okay, let me just say this. It's a graphic example, and I apologize, but it has to be said. If you're allowing somebody to ejaculate on your face, for example, which is a very vulnerable place because you've got mucous membrane in your mouth and the skin of your lips can be easily damaged. There's mucous membranes in your nostrils. And of course, then there are the eyes. You can get this ejaculation into these sensitive, risk-prone areas. You could end up with a permanent case of herpes in an eye. You could get a wart even. As weird as that sounds, it is possible. So if and I learned the hard way. Fungus can be transferred from one person to the other, and it's hard to get rid of it. I've been trying for years to deal with fungus for different reasons, but some of them I have had since I was very young. Some of them were most likely given to me by a partner of mine or multiple partners. I don't know. So, no, oral sex is not safe sex. Swallowing somebody's ejaculation is not safe sex. Letting somebody ejaculate all over your face, into your eyes and nose and mouth is not safe sex. And just because you can't get pregnant from in your mouth or your anus doesn't make it safe sex. Yeah, you're avoiding pregnancy, but you're not avoiding all of the other risks of sex. And the more sexual partners you have, the higher the risk you're at. I've caught sexually transmitted diseases from women I was with. Fortunately, I was able to catch it and get it treated. But this was back in the days when antibiotics were still very effective. And now they're losing their efficacy. And a lot of that has to do with the ranching industry that abuses antibiotics constantly. And also it has to do with people who don't correctly follow the instructions for their antibiotics for whatever reason. So please, practice safe sex, no matter what kind of sex it is. And if you have any signs that you have an infection, you should not be engaging in sex. You should be seeing a doctor to get help to get rid of it. As we have become more and more and more permissive, and extramarital and premarital sex have occurred with more people than just prostitutes. And prostitutes are a very easy way to get diseases, as are sex addicts. Yeah, it's just some of these things can destroy your life. So please think twice. Thanks for watching, and I hope you stay safe.